Welcome everyone, welcome to another wider Starseed Circle. Before we begin, let me introduce myself and introduce a circle. My name is Liz, I live in the UK and I'm a Starseed. We Starseeds came as an army of light bearers to assist in the liberation of Earth from the dark forces. We could not have signed up for a tougher mission. The past decades have been especially dark, and many of us are feeling isolated and exhausted, our missions thwarted. Some of us fear we won't make it through liberation. I don't want to lose any more Starseeds to feelings of hopelessness, despair, and feeling all alone. So what is the answer to our struggle? How can we support each other and get over the finish line of the great liberation? Starseed Circle is a place we can gather together and share our feelings, our struggles, our experiences, and our hope. We need each other more than ever, as the divide between Starseeds and the sleeping masses seems ever wider. The darkness before the dawn is at its darkest. Starseed Circle does not replace doing our inner work or seeing a therapist or a healer we trust, but it does potentially fill the void of aloneness, making the other challenges of liberation that much easier. If we are each willing to show up as our true selves, with love and compassion for each other, we can create a harmony and unity to sustain us and refuel our inner light. You may be thinking, I'm not sure I belong here, I've not suffered enough, or you've suffered so much you can't even begin to share. If you identify as a Starseed with awareness of the great liberation of Earth from dark forces, and you are in need of connection, you are welcome here. There is no obligation to share if you prefer to just listen. Imagine we are gathered together around a campfire in sister and brotherhood. We sit by the fire and tell the stories of our lives. We tell of what pains us and feel held by our brothers and sisters knowing how we feel. We share our hopes and our visions, our dreams, that most people would think are crazy. But we are amongst friends here, with no limit to our imaginations, with our memories returning of lives lived all across the cosmos. Welcome home, beloved Starseeds. Welcome home. So first of all, we come together in a short meditation to sync up our energies and bring in some protections. Sitting comfortably, eyes closed if you would like, and taking a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Breathing in again. This time breathe in brilliant white light. And breathing out any resistance to feelings or how we are where we are right now. And when you're ready, breathing in again, the brilliant white light filling your being, every cell of your body, like a miniature sun of its own. And exhaling, this time exhaling brilliant white light. Continuing to breathe consciously in whatever way your body needs. As we imagine sitting together in our Starseed Circle. You can imagine the setting, a place that is beautiful and restoring and reassuring. For me, it's an open-sided temple in a beautiful sacred valley. Just coming deeply into the present moment with your breath, with the sense of being alive. And we visualize a pillar of brilliant white light descending from authentic source down through the center of our circle and into the core of Gaia. As we all sit around this pillar of light, as we both glow with our own unique, beautiful light of soul, whilst also illuminated in this pillar of brilliant white light. Acknowledging for a moment everyone here came to Earth to assist. We do know of each other's suffering. And we also know of who we really are. And now we visualize the brilliant violet flame descending through the pillar of light, surrounding our circle and running all through your being. Authentic violet flame, please protect us and protect our circle space and beyond from all darkness, physical and non-physical, and any negativity. And calling in any guides at this time, those you'd like to have with you in the circle today. And as we all call in our guides, a sense of our space filling with incredible beings of light. Authentic higher selves, please be here with us. And please ensure this circle is the best medicine it can be. In today's Starseed reading, to prompt our sharing time, we journey into our connection with the natural world, the animals. Many starseeds build strong connections with animals. Some of us had pets as children. These pets were our best friends and guardians. In the company of animals, we could be ourselves and found empathy and understanding difficult to find in the human world. For some of us, animals saved our lives in some way, spiritually, emotionally, or even physically. Some of us receive guidance from spirit animals. We are visited by birds or butterflies or other creatures, bringing us signs and messages. We learnt the animal kingdom and the world of nature is always communicating with us, providing a path back to connection with all that is. Joan Ocean has spent 40 years communicating with whales and dolphins. There are many wonderful stories about our ocean friends in the book Whale Connection, Mirror of the Great Mind, written by Joan Ocean. As Joan mentions in the book, her surname should have been a clue to her life's work. She talks about the great collective consciousness and the frequencies held by our whale and dolphin brothers and sisters, assisting in the liberation of Earth. I'd like to share today a passage from the book. This is her very first encounter with the dolphins, which is quite extraordinary, for Joan could not even swim at the time. Her life was going to become every moment in the water, but when she was younger, she could not swim. So it was very brave of her to join a group who was swimming with the dolphins and getting into the water and clinging to the side of a wooden deck. However, the dolphins had other ideas. Here's Joan. Circling 4 more times, the dolphin proceeded to push lightly against me with his nose in the exact locations of my chakras: the sacral chakra, the solar plexus, the heart chakra, and even my throat chakra. When I relaxed and submerged up to my chin to allow this, while still holding onto the wooden dock. After this, the dolphin came alongside and offered me his dorsal fin. Automatically, as if in a trance, I took hold of it, and suddenly I was being whisked through the water at great speed. As long as I had him to hold on to, I was not afraid. My fear of the water dissipated, and I quickly felt the joy and exuberance of the ride. For a non-swimmer, this was amazing. This big, gentle dolphin was bouncing along, keeping my head above water as we travelled. Dragging me along, he carefully avoided a clash between me and his powerful tail. On that day in Florida, this profound eye-to-eye contact and the level of safety I felt with the bottlenose dolphin activated my kundalini. End quote. Joan later explains, learning to communicate with empathy and telepathy prepares us for learning how to communicate with our galactic family. What stories do we all have of our animal friends? How have they shaped our journeys as starseeds? Did they play a part in our awakening? And what would our animal friends want to tell us here and now in 2026 and whenever you're listening to this in the liberation process? So I will offer up a share today. If you'd like to share in the comments, please do. It's wonderful to hear everyone's stories. This is how we stay connected. Like in the old days, I often think of YouTube as a way of everyone still telling their stories like we would have done around the campfire. So I will now offer up a share, and I'm going to time myself. We do up to 5 minutes normally. All right. I'm going to get current first. So it's full moon today. There are mass meditations going on for the full moon to keep planetary liberation on track. And I very often don't sleep for the night before or 2 nights before the full moon. Just the energies are incredibly high for me. And it was interesting this morning because I took a real plunge into negative thinking. Sometimes these are attacks sort of attacks from whether it's a dark magician or the general negative AI in the ethers, because that's very much an energetic thing. It's not just on the internet to make pretty images with the old AI. So, yeah, and sometimes, obviously, I mean, those things tap into my wounded parts, or it's purely something coming up for me personally. This morning, I'm not quite sure where it came from as yet. But it was interesting because I was reminded there's a thing in family systems, a type of therapy, and when it's done really well, it's all about bringing home these wounded parts, the shadow self. And I always think, what are we here for on earth but this giant soul retrieval, collective soul retrieval, retrieving the shadow, bringing light to it again, bringing home all these pained parts. And there's an idea in IFS, internal family systems, where when you're merged with these wounded parts or exiled parts, then you're just lost in it. And I really had that experience again this morning. And yeah, I couldn't quite step out of it for a little while. And what was coming up was this idea that it was interesting because I don't think I've specifically had this quite so strong before. It was, I really am all alone in my experience. I'm really alone in the type of suffering I've gone through. I'm really alone in how extreme the suffering was. And there's nobody out there who I can really resonate with. And it was so strong, and I was really merged with it for a little while, to the point of like almost changing my plans for the day and those things always come with a part of me just wants to sabotage the day or sabotage what I'm doing, or like, for example, sabotage this podcast like that. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. And it's all coming from this one pained part of me. And I managed to unmerge and get back to my higher self and my true self, my what other recovery programs call the inner loving parent self, and to then see this wounded part of me just crying out, just in so much pain and feeling so alone. And when we have gone through really difficult initiations, learning about the dark side, encounters with the dark side, those have been extraordinary experiences, and I don't see that reflection in other people when I go out and about. And I am having to deal with very 3D, maybe this has been the trigger. I've had to deal with what I call very 3D people, very sort of Cabal-esque people in the last couple of weeks, because I've got a lot of official 3D stuff going on. And maybe that's just triggered this little part going, I feel like a complete alien compared to them. And almost to the point of it feels almost hostile to be interacting with them, because also I know if the dark parts of them knew who I really was and the things I've done for the liberation, and in that way that when you spike somebody's ego, they really turn on you. I remember Eckhart Tolle sharing a story of that in one of his books. He's sitting in a restaurant minding his own business, just shining away as he does, and someone else gets very, very triggered by this because they're in that darkness. There's wounded parts of me that do feel under threat sometimes. Like, if you knew who I really was. And it reminds me of all the starseeds through our history and all my ancestors, starseed ancestors, who've had to hide out, basically. They've had to lead very, very secretive lives, hiding who they really are, whilst they went about their missions of subterfuge. So yeah, it's making more sense to me as I go through the morning and piece these pieces together. You know, all my guides, you know, God, Goddess, they understand. Every ascended master who's really been through it down here, they understand. And more importantly than even all of that, my own self, my soul understands and sees everything. So again, it was an invitation to be more deeply with myself and to honour my own journey. So it's about getting back to self, able to love these wounded parts, see them clearly, and really be with them as the loving parent. So that's been my experience on this full moon. the unending shadow work. No, it's not unending. I will try and tap back into, there will be a day when all of my winter parts will be coming home, and again, that is the liberation, that is ascension in my mind. Now, to get to the reading, I love reading this book. I have not finished it yet. It's quite a tome by Joan Ocean, and it's just beautiful. And I love that idea of the dolphins and the whales really hold that consciousness. I love how she says, learning to communicate with them teaches us how to communicate with our galactic family. I just love that. And isn't that so true of connections with so many animals? Being in the heart space, completely in the heart space, where we can communicate from properly. And that's where the telepathy comes in. It's all from the heart space. It gives me wonderful shivers to think of Joan communicating with them like that. And it reminds me where we're going. And I need that. I need that often. Thank you, everyone, for listening to my share today. Do share in the comments if you'd like to. It'd be wonderful to hear your stories. As always, it would be wonderful to be doing this on Zoom, a bit more personal. We do have one group already set up. This podcast sending out the vibration of what our Starseed Circle is, so those who resonate can start to gather and really come together and really hear each other and witness each other in compassion and love in a way that can be difficult to do for ourselves at times. In the same way, this podcast coming up this morning has made me go, okay, hang on, I'm not in a great space this morning. What do I need? What do I need to come back to myself? We will now go into a healing meditation, drawing on themes from our circle today. So again, for those of you who'd like to join me, sitting comfortably, taking a deep breath in to begin. Through the nose, pausing at the top if you would like, and exhaling, releasing any remaining tension, any discomfort, as we come even deeper into the now moment. Taking another deep breath in, filling your being with the brilliant white light. And exhaling when you're ready. And breathing consciously in whatever way feels best. Aware of the pillar of brilliant white light in the center of our circle and the violet flame all around and through your body. As we begin to tap into all of the higher consciousness already here on the earth. All the higher consciousness in ourselves. The higher consciousness throughout the oceans, in the water itself. ocean consciousness. And of the whales and the dolphins. And if any thoughts pop up of where these animals too have endured the primary anomaly, endured suffering, been not themselves, just surrounding those thoughts and feelings with brilliant white light. And watching them gently dissolve. The whales and the dolphins, in their highest selves, lead lives of heart connection, playfulness, joy, and looking after one another as the dolphin looked after Joan. There might be other animals that you more easily relate to. So now choosing a moment from your life, or an animal or a bird that you feel very connected to. Let's hold the space for that connection going even deeper. And stay with any images or thoughts or knowings that come. Perhaps you have a special relationship to the birds. Perhaps you had a best friend as a dog or a cat. Who kept you heart-centered. And as we spend a moment quietly communicating, receiving any messages, giving our messages of love and appreciation. And for anyone especially suffering at this time, welcoming in all the nurture from the animal realms who are here with humanity, here in this great liberation, and so often holding for us the reconnection to heart. I'm sensing the animal kingdom and humanity facing one another and a deep bow, in the form of a great tiger. And as I bow to him, and as I bow to her, and as we rise again, we look upon each other. And I want to say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. The tiger has closed her eyes briefly and nodded her head in recognition. And now I'm seeing all the animals, the tiger and every other creature and animal and mammal and being, and in all their different shapes and sizes and colours, as though all their souls are now dancing light all across Gaia. They have been our cousins in this great expedition to Earth, as some would say, to corral the dark forces and finally restore all of the goddess's queendom and the god's kingdom to love and peace and harmony. As we take another deep breath in, filling your being with brilliant white light, and on the exhale, coming fully back to the self, perhaps feeling fingers and toes deeply with the self, deeply with the breath, in this present eternal now. Thank you, everyone. I feel so honoured that you join me in these wider circles. To wrap up, sharing and listening in circle can trigger memories and emotional responses. Please take care of yourselves after circle. Share in the chat box if you would like as to what your self-care this evening will look like, or indeed this morning or lunchtime. My self-care is going to be, I'm going to sit quietly with a cup of tea, and I'd really like to stay in this deeper awareness of the animals and the birds in my garden, staying connected, especially as this time, 2026, seems ever more certainly turbulent in the 3D. There's a huge amount going on. Staying connected no matter what the liberation throws at us next. Before we close, some quick reminders. Now, in a Zoom session, of course, it would all be entirely confidential. And of course, if you do share it in the comments, be aware we are on an open platform. And if you'd like to comment on another person's share in the comments, then please do ask their permission first. Some shares may contain vulnerable personal details never shared before. please join us again. The more we spend time together, the more opportunity for Circle to impact our lives and our well-being. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting your fellow starseeds by showing up and bringing your beautiful light. Until we meet again, may God and Goddess be with you.